Texas Tech's talent acquisition, this both portal window, well, I guess the second one hasn't even opened yet, but what appears to be another ramp up period for them. Let's talk about them. Are they building a super team? Like, are they like, how high up are they on your Big 12, projections for next year with all the talent that the influx and what they've brought in? Let's talk about Texas Tech a little bit.
All right, everybody, listen to me here. Listen, and you can argue it. You can be mad at it. You can be upset. You can push back if you want to. Texas Tech, I'm right. Texas Tech has the most talented roster in football in the Big 12 next year. Texas Tech has the most talented roster in Big 12 football. Now, we made that case about Colorado and Utah last year. It doesn't necessarily translate to wins directly. But if we just take blue chips, if we take production from other schools, they've entered the transfer portal, they're going somewhere else, and they're creating a super team, Texas Tech is as close as we get to that in the Big 12 next season. Why? According to Parker Fleming, Statso War on Twitter, great account, by the way, does deep dives on analytics in football, college football, 24/7, 365, says blue chip recruits through the portal in 2025. Texas Tech, 12. The rest of the Big 12, 15 teams, 12. 24 blue chip prospects in this conference, 12 of them went to Texas Tech in the portal. They got 2 edge players, 2 offensive tackles, 1 interior D lineman, 1 interior O lineman. Like they're building a super team that also features a blue chip running back, 2 corners, a safety, a receiver, a tight end. They're putting every single position together, additions at every position, creating competition, bringing in elite level talent. And how are they doing it? Oil money. The Matador Club. They're paying these kids, and they're doing it without remorse. No one's here saying, oh, we hate Texas Tech because they're rich. It's Texas Tech donors saying, we're rich. We're going to give that money toward football. We're going to give it to JT Topman in basketball. We're going to make a statement in the revenue sports that Texas Tech, despite being in Lubbock, which I mention a lot, I continue to mention, and it sucks for those in Lubbock. I've been to Lubbock. I've lived in Texas for 5 years. Lubbock is a hard place to consider Texas in college football. Why? Dallas recruits, spectacular. Houston recruits, spectacular. There's talent in East Texas. West Texas gets a little tougher. Lubbock Coronado's good, but you can't build a powerful Power 4 college football team out of the Lubbock area. And you're still 4 hours away from the next metro that's got major athleticism in that state. So you're trying to battle bringing players into the far reaches of the state in a state that is dominated by blue bloods at the high school level, and they haven't really figured out how to do that with great success until Joey McGuire got there, until the NIL collective became what it is today. And now they're saying, look, even though your mom and your dad, they live just outside of Lake Worth, and you would love to play at TCU. What if we gave you $500,000 extra dollars? Would that appease it? Then mom and dad can come to all the games because they can afford to do so. That's how Texas Tech can maneuver this, and they're doing it with such great success that you can't hate it. You can only respect the schools right now in an era where it's legal to spend money. You can only respect the schools that are actually spending that money and spending it at a high rate. Texas Tech is one of those. They are creating a sleeping giant, a juggernaut in this conference. I think we've already talked plenty. We've waxed poetic about BYU. It's BYU and it's Texas Tech at the top of this thing. Colorado not far behind.
Do you think that how do you think it translates? We've seen this go. I mean, this is asking you to predict something that's absolutely ridiculous. We've seen it go really well with portal teams. We've seen it absolutely fall off a cliff. You don't even have to exit the same city to have seen it do both of those things. How well do you think this kind of gels? Do you think it, takes them some time, but maybe they can get rolling later? Or what are your thoughts around, the nucleus that they had and then the pieces they've added kind of working together this season?
Yeah, the fact that they have not jumped at the Nico news, I've heard from Chris Level of Locked On Texas Tech that really Tech donors right now have no interest. They're happy with their quarterback right now. That's a good spot to be in. And donors feel, as he put it to me, almost giddy that they're being that people think they're so rich that they're just throwing money at any quarterback who went to the playoffs and is now in the transfer portal. So I believe the nucleus is still there. They're not getting too big for their britches. They're not kicking out legitimate players that have been loyal to Texas Tech and could give them good playing time in years moving forward. So that's good. They're staying grounded where they need to be. And I don't think that all these blue chip prospects will contribute day one. They don't need to, though. They need to compete. This was Sawyer Robertson, DeQuan Finn at Baylor. No one's really heard of DeQuan Finn in the last year. Little did they know he made exponentially more NIL dollars than Sawyer Robertson, who became a young star in college football last year. The reason being, DeQuan Finn came in as the MAC Player of the Year. Baylor gave him the Brink truck, and then he stunk. But the competition he created in the spring, the competition he kept on in the fall, made Sawyer Robertson a better quarterback. To now, he's also in this conversation for the next Tennessee starting quarterback. He's gotten that good, that much attention, that much prowess. Also from Lubbock Coronado, I should add. It's interesting that we spin it back to there being no talent in West Texas. But that is what Texas Tech's getting, competition across the board. Even if the blue chip kids don't play, they're going to make better your other defensive lineman, your other quarterback, your other running back, your other whoever. And so they've kept the nucleus of their QB. Joey McGuire is one of the best high school football coaches in Texas history, and it's translated enough. I mean, he's won pretty much in the same way every other head coach at Texas Tech has ever won. No one's won championships there 10, 11, 12 games year in and year out. McGuire's trying to prove that he can be that guy with the right resources. Now that the right resources are there, the nucleus of your quarterback is still at play. I'm very trusting of McGuire to utilize this to win. However, it's still Texas Tech, and they just have this knack as a football program for finding a way to go 8-4, 9-3 pretty much every season, no matter what.
What should the expectations be for them this year?
I think Texas Tech has to be a Big 12 championship contender. You can't, if you're a donor group or the Matador Club, and let's say hypothetically, we'll use $20 million for an example that kind of matches to what a lot of these football players are making, and maybe the Matador Club is less or more, I don't know. We'll use $20 million. You spent that in 1 year, and you went 7-5. If you spend $20 million as a donor collective, or you individually spend $2 million to build a good football team, and they go 7-5, look at Florida State last year. What was 1-11, 2-10? From there, and there's no knock at Florida State, but if you're a donor and you gave $2 million, why did I do that?
Yeah,
I just threw away money for a year. Where I love to support my school, but at some level, I'm spending so much to watch a good football product. If you can't deliver that, then this is where donors have taken even more control in college football. So, I could give you, I think Texas Tech could go 10-2 or 9-3 or whatever. But instead, my expectation is that Texas Tech either wins or they lose to the detriment of Joey McGuire's job, because people in West Texas, they're not here to filter in money like they do at Ohio State or Alabama or LSU. Win or lose, we know that eventually you're going to be good. At Texas Tech, it's be good, or we're going to stop giving you money, or we're going to fire you. You have to make use of the money they give you, and you got to get it right pretty quickly, because the second you get it wrong is the second that money stops rolling in the same way it is right now.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Oh, whoa. Sorry, TJ. I didn't mean to do that. Arkansas, great example. Sorry. Arkansas, their athletic director, the second they started sucking in football, he blamed it on the fan base. Start giving us more in NIL. You can't do that. That's where Texas Tech could fall short. If they start losing, your AD can't come out and say, well, if you give us more money, we'll stop losing. Doesn't work that way. That's the expectation next year. They have to put the money where their mouth is.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned that. Florida State had a very high-paid roster last year. Now, it wasn't necessarily as high as Ohio State or Oregon or anything like that. But they paid, I think, closer to 15 than 10, right? Yeah. So still pretty high. And yeah, I mean, it wasn't a problem of resources, right? Florida State doesn't necessarily pay as high as Florida or Miami, who have, bigger donor or larger donor prowess is maybe the right way to say it, but they still pay very well. And to go, Florida State was a higher paid roster than I would probably guess all but maybe 3 teams they played last year, and they still went 2-10. That's a problem, because the support is there. It's what'd you do with it? So Texas Tech has spent a crap load of money, as we all know. Even Texas Tech would admit that. What do you do with it, right? I guess they play 9 games, right? A 6-3 in the Big 12 this year is not going to feel very good for the amount of money they've spent, no matter what that amount is. So yeah, I'm with you. You got to, if you want that same money next year, or if you want to be the one receiving the money, you better figure out a way to win this year. But it's hard to not be high on them right now. Sure. We can do all this prognosticating now, but it's hard to not look at the talent and say, "Oof, that should be something to watch in the fall." Drake, where can people follow you, man? Where can they find your work?
Yep, at Ella Big 12, at Drake C. Toll on Twitter, and wherever you find your podcast with Locked On Big 12.
Thanks, buddy.
Anytime, TJ.